Hi everyone, Merry Christmas to you all your more subscribers to the On the Buses database channel. Hope you're all prepared for Christmas and hope you're going to enjoy the chat tonight. Hope you've enjoyed all the run of videos that went up on over the last couple of months. The few videos I done when I was down in London. I hope you enjoyed all of those. I hope to be doing some more in the new year, possibly in January. There might be another, maybe half a dozen going up, hopefully. That depends on if I can get down to London again, which I hope to do in January. Plans still going on, evening. Plans still in place, going on. Planning still going on. Sorry, for the walking tour as well, which will probably be maybe sometime in maybe January, February, or maybe March. I'm not too sure yet. Sometime around the first quarter of the year, anyway. And just watch the space as well, because there may be a holiday on the buses event coming your way as well, which will be co-organising, but more details will come of that if and when that does come about. That would probably be sometime around in the autumn time. So you know what to do now. You just post up any questions you may have, and I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. Well, it was comedic value, wasn't it? That's what it all comes down to, really, basically. I don't think they would have had much of a show if Jack had what standard have fallen out with Jack. Yeah, it's as simple as that. If you look at it's like that in any sitcom. If you ever look at Del and Rodney, what do you think Rodney would be staying at home and all the times Del done the dirty on them, messing up his love life and everything? No, they have to stay together because that's what makes the whole comedy work, basically. In sitcoms, you'll always get conflicts, and that's what makes comedy. Look at Steptoe and Son. Steptoe and Son was a classic case of conflict where they were always at each other's throats. Stan and Jack was nowhere like that. That was just a little bit now and again, basically, just like it was in Only Fools and Horses with Del and Rodney. For anyone that watches the new sitcom, Still Game's the same as well. Still Game, you've got characters there that are sort of like have digs at one another, but they still remain friends in it. It's what makes it tick, basically. What you've got to remember with sitcoms, sitcoms are nothing to do with being absolutely like a true life incident. Basically, it's all written for the laughs. Basically, there's no point in watching a sitcom, in my experience, and expecting it to be like real life, because it's not meant to be. It's meant to be. It's written to give us laughs, if you see what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's all done for the laughs, and what's great for it, if you see what I mean. Okay, so keep your questions coming in. You got your questions, just ask them up. Anything to do with on the buses, the cast, the crew, the episodes, filming locations, the films, anything to do with the walking tour that I'm planning, anything to do with my books, anything like that. Just pop them up and ask them away, and I'll answer them for you straight away. I was hoping that you would get to see my sign there. I don't know if you can make that out. It doesn't work well with the light, does it? No. I don't think that's really relevant. I don't mean relevant. I don't think it's really important, Stephen. As I say, it's all. I'm not. That's another incident. It's just all done for the laughs, basically. They needed Blakey to replace a part of Stan in the Serious Seven by moving into the Butler house. So that was basically they had to use that. So how it is, they never really mentioned. It could be anything. It could be they fell on the hard times financially, had to sell it or something like that. You just don't really find out the reason for that, if you see what I mean. Amy, the moments when the things go wrong, Amy, if you watch a few of the episodes, there are things that go wrong that just stay in the episode. I think there's the episode, the Christmas Duty, when they're playing with the toy bus, and you see the little lever comes off of the remote control, and Stan says something like, "Well, yeah, just get it," or something like that, and he bends down and picks up. Obviously, that wasn't in the script. There's other little bits like that happen as well. Like there's one of the episodes where I can't remember which one it is, but I think Arthur comes in, hangs his hat up, and it comes off um, the peg. If you see what I mean, falls down. He's got to stop down, pick it up again. Obviously, that would have been scripted as well. Yeah, there's all these, as you were saying there, folks. When people are cops and when they cast cops and all that, certainly wasn't in it at all. The films, not so much because the studio sections and the TV series was all done basically live, so they wouldn't really stop it unless they absolutely had to, if you see what I mean. There was one instance, and I think it was the new uniforms. The late Ronnie Chesney told me this at one of the events that I organised. They said that the audience were laughing so hard they had to actually cut and stop filming for a bit and then start again. If you watch that scene, you can hear somebody laughing real hard in the background. So that was a scene when they're measuring the sausages and everything like that. So the things that are unscripted moments and things that go wrong, they did tend to leave them in the TV series and films. They would have edited them out to the best of their ability. Obviously, there's one or two that escape your eye, that escape the editor, the editing. Like obviously, there's one in the spin-off film when Stan's on the bus and he goes to eat. It looks like a vegetable. He's eating it first, and then it turns into an orange. And then there's another scene as well when I think it's when he's reversing into the bus shelter. The steering wheel in one shot was white, and then it turns into a black steering wheel. Stuff like that remains in, and they don't. The editor doesn't manage to realize it and doesn't edit it out, and it just remains in. A lot of the ones from the TV series, he actually carried on filming. If you see what I mean. So just keep your questions coming in and I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. obviously it's been in a way a sort of like ending of an era this year for on the buses, obviously because our last main cast member passed away sadly. Anna did, and you may remember earlier in the year in February. I'll have a little whiskey, another extra little whiskey in a moment of thought for Anna on New Year's Eve, just when I'm about to ring out the old year. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. Can be about anything at all that you want. If you want to know about the hi Yardy. No, you never seen any of Jack's family in it. Basically, and as you say, he spoke about his sister and all of that. So, such like, and I think mentions his aunt, his Uncle Willie or something like that, or his aunt who's got the bed that they go and get it from in the Sirius 4 episode, the Elbus. So yeah, he speaks of them, but you never really see them because what you've got to remember is on the buses was written specifically as a vehicle, like for like character of Stan Butler. They never really dipped too far into the the lesser main characters like Blakey and Jack and all of that. It was basically Stan was the main focal point of the whole of the on the buses, if you see what I mean. Yeah, probably the same reasons as well, Fox Mulder. I mean, they only had 24 minutes or something like that per episode, so they couldn't be showing you delving into not the star character's family as well, because it would detract away from the main character, if you will, which was Stan Butler, played by Reg, of course. And anyone that's on the face on the channel just now as well, just to say, I hope you're enjoying the run through of all the filming locations that I'm doing on my Facebook channel, my Facebook group. Sorry. No, if anyone on here is not on there, but are not on the group and are, but they'd like to be on the group and are on Facebook, just let me know and I'll post up a link to the Facebook group where I'm running through every known filming location at the moment. Has anyone got any problems here about posting up messages at the moment? Just that I've got a message from someone who's on the chat, but they can't post any messages. Cheers, Algernon. Yeah, everyone else, it seems to be working fine. I hope you liked your locations from Hendon and Algernon Road, Algernon. Hope you enjoyed those ones. I'm okay. I'm just rushing around just now, finishing getting our preparations in for Christmas. That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed them. So if you've got any more questions, keep them coming in. Just post them up. Anything to do with the TV series, films, the cast, the crew, anything to do with the filming locations or my walking tours or my books. Just post them up and I'll answer them for you. Yeah, that's right. Yard Ape. Whenever you see the motorbike, in terms of, especially in the spin-off films as well, obviously you see the motorbike going down the road. That would have been it getting towed. Michael couldn't ride a motorbike. He never had a license. Couldn't ride a motorbike. So that is true. Yeah. From some of the scenes in the films, when you see them from a distance, when they couldn't possibly tow it, they would have the stunt rider on, who was actually an actor as well in the films called Tex Fuller. He played one of the busmen. He's the busman that's sitting on the back of the bus when stands in a rush to get away from Turnaround Betty's, and he's drinking his tea out of a flask, and the bus reverses and he spills the tea and all of that, and falls off the back of the bus. That was the stuntman Tex Fuller, who was an actor as well. He was the one that done all the motorbike riding in scenes when they couldn't possibly tow it, and they had to have Tex do the job. So he just obviously they had him dressed up exactly like Michael Robbins, leather jacket and all of that, and that was how we done that scene. That's a good question. Yeah. Mine's would have probably been something along the same lines of Foggy Night, but instead of it being fog that they got stuck in, it might have been snow or something like that. And they get caught in a snowdrift or something on their Christmas shift or something like that. That might have been an idea for one, but there again, it might have been just too close to what the Foggy Night was. I always thought a good one would have been, but obviously it wouldn't have had much of a Christmas element to it. But an episode that I thought would have worked really well would have been what happened on the Bon Voyage, the works out into Spain. It would have been really good to have actually seen what went on there. So like maybe a two-parter where you saw the first part when they all leave the depot, and then the second part could have been sort of like what went on the holiday, and all of that would have been really interesting. But that wasn't exactly around Christmas time, so that wouldn't have worked as a Christmas one. I think it might have been a good idea as well if they had have had, like, again, it would have been a bit like kids out and again, no. They could have opened the depot up for like a kids visit and had Blakey done up like Santa Claus or something like that, and the kids really giving them a hard time. Something like that as well. That's an idea for one as well, I suppose. Of course, the thing is as well, what you've got to take into account as well, Fox, is that um, they did all the Christmas episodes that they could possibly do, if you see what I mean, in terms of when the series was running. I mean, the series 4, Christmas Duty, and series 5, Boxing Day Social, they were filming a series around that time anyway. The rest of them, they weren't. So basically, that's why you only got those 2 Christmas episodes that you got. On the buses wasn't the sort of serious that they would go out of the way to do a Christmas special, if you know what I mean. When they had maybe stopped finishing filming the last episode 2 months earlier or something like that. So keep your questions coming in. If you've got any questions about on the buses, any thing about the TV series, the films, the anything to do with my books or my walking tour, or anything, if you want to know where any of the filming locations are, just ask away and I'll answer them for you. know someone on my Facebook channel, there was people commenting on the Facebook channel asking about the buses as well that they used in the films. They were London Transport, although they may have looked London Transport because they were painted red. They were actually green liveried Eastern National buses. They were Bristol KSWs that had just been retired from service, and they had been bought by a private owner, and he leased them out for the filming on the buses. So they were all retired stock, the Bristol KS, I think the Bristol K types are actually known as, but they are also known as Bristol KSWs that they used in the spin-off films. So Eastern National did sort of still have an input into the films. London Transport obviously has to be involved. That's how you got the skid pan. You see the skid pan being used in it. But there was no other London Transport buses used, if you see what I mean. There might have been one that was like X stock at the start of Holiday on the buses. I'm not too sure off the top of my head about that. One of the buses that crashes into the bus that Reg stands in. Hi, Steve. Suppose it depends on the serious state, as if Reg had to come back into it. If they had have got Reg written back into it, it would have opened up a whole load of more possible scenarios. I mean, they could have done an episode, I think. I mean, a character that they could have looked to sort of like include in the Serious 8 episodes would have been to try and get Euphra Joyce to return as well. I think would have been good. Even if they hadn't have got Reg back for it, if you know what I mean. Euphra Joyce's character, Jesse, was a really strong character, and I think that had mileage in it, if you see what I mean. So maybe a character with her character in it opened up more scenarios, really. But for me, really, it would have needed sort of like the return of either Reg and maybe Michael Robbins as well. Of course, I think that would have been the real ideal scenario that you would have got there. But if not, they could have done one of the episodes. Could have been about introducing the one-man buses, operated buses. Obviously, the conductors would still be on it because of a newly fledged sort of thing. Then, if you know what I mean, but maybe working with the having to train to work with the new style buses and all of that as well would have been good. Well, we never really went to Spain until 75 or something like that. So there would still be mileage to have Blakey in it, but I would have thought more along the lines of where maybe she's specifically fighting for the women's rights in the depot, if you see what I mean. So Blakey's getting it from both corners, like Blake from Jesse and Jack, if you see what I mean. They could have had sort of like played out the storyline that they did in the one of the last episodes they done was about the national bus company taking them over. They could have sort of like drawn that out into Serious 8 and had that maybe a running theme throughout the series, perhaps sort of like along the lines of of the takeover not sort of like going through yet, and maybe the bus crews sort of like throwing a spanner in the works trying to prevent it from being taken over, if you see what I mean, something like that. That could have been a running theme throughout a lot of the episodes in Series 8 as well, I suppose. So that's something that they could have kicked it, went along with. It would have been good to have Mum's character come, but Mum's sister coming back in for an episode or two, maybe Aunt Maud, because I thought she was a really good character as well. And maybe if obviously for the mileage sake, if they couldn't get Michael Robbins back in, they could have always have tried marrying Olive off to somebody else, a similar type character that Anna could have bounced off of as Olive, if you see what I mean. So there were sort of like options there, but obviously it would have all been helped a great deal more if you had have had the return at least of Reg and possibly Michael as well. But if not, then obviously return with Reg and try and get another character in that is dating Olive or something like that. I don't know. You could have it really funny and have him being an inspector, maybe, another inspector at the depot or something like that. That would have been an interesting dynamic, I suppose. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. She more than likely did, if you see what I mean. I'm a bit too young to remember back to that age, if you see what I mean. But the writers never really mentioned it to me, so it couldn't have been anything really OTT, if you see what I mean. I think Stevie'd be all for them, basically. I think as well, Gerald, I think she probably had a little bit more on the plate. There was racier stuff, more outlandish stuff on the telly than on the buses, if you see what I mean. To us today, on the buses is like seen as very non-PC, but quite frankly, around the time of the early 70s, it was really pretty tame compared to what else there was on the telly. I mean, you had stuff like Curry and Chips, you had stuff like Love Thy Neighbour, you know what I mean? They were far more sort of like stuff for Mary Whitehouse to worry herself over, if you see what I mean. Yeah, I've got no doubt about that though, Steve. It'd certainly be in favour of the strikes without a shadow of a doubt. To be honest, I was never really a fan of Love Thy Neighbour. I never really got into it. It wasn't anything to do with the subject matter because I mean I'm sort of like right into your non-PC type humor, but I just never. I just thought it was too repetitive. It was just the same every week, as in sort of like racially, sort of like all around the racial element of it, where he was. What's his name's character? Jack Smithers' character was deemed a racist, like it wasn't done with a great deal of subtlety either. I mean, if you watch um, Till Death Us Do Part, which was similar, he was very racist, was Alf Garnett's character, and that he was very racist, but it was subtly done, if you see what I mean. Oh, Kate knows anyway. She knows I wasn't really sort of like what I would say was a fan of it. That's the way I mean how I see it anyway. With Till Death Is Depart, it was done with in a better way. I don't know if I'm saying that right, in a better way, more like in a more funny way to me. It appealed more to me the way that they done it. Because maybe the writing styles, if you see what I mean, that they done it with. Yeah, bless John. He was really great seeing John our events. I can't remember how many came to now. Maybe three or something like that. In total, three or four. But a really lovely bloke. Very sharp-minded, and still recalls a lot of stuff, a lot of the memories from working on the buses and all of that, which is really what you want from a celebrity guest at your events. Yeah, he was at another one as well, though. He done the evening with Norman Ashley that we done at the Fairway Hall in Boreham Wood. He was also at the event after that, I think, that we done. So it's either two or three that he's been to of ours anyway. I know that much. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Hi, Rob. Glad you like the tree, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was like, Rob. I totally agree with you. I mean, that's why I think it struck a chord with the viewers as well. Obviously, the critics were very critical of it, the TV critics and all of that. But what do they know? Basically, it's the viewing public that really counts. It was a massive hit with the British public because that's exactly as you say. It's like reflected a lot of things in life back then. I mean, if you look at it now, it reflected decimalisation. It reflected the issues there was with strikes and all of that. Um, the battle between the management and the trade unions, if you will, of that time, which was really prevalent around then. You also had the slow introduction of the women drivers that featured in the first spin-off film. So yeah, it was a heck of a lot of stuff. It was true to what was happening around that time. Obviously, you had the financial toils as well that the family had, and of course, everyone knew what it was like traveling on buses because a lot of people used to travel on buses back then. So that was something that they could associate with as well. So I suppose that's a big reason why it was so popular. Not at the moment, Steve. As I say, the problems of your Boreham Wood event over your Prestatyn event. The Prestatyn event is more better attended, and the Prestatyn event we've got more guests that we can get to that event because there's still more people that are still with us from Holiday on the Buses, whereas on the buses itself, obviously with Anna sadly passing away this year, it makes it even harder. And then again, it comes down to numbers that you can get to attend the Boreham Wood event. The Prestatyn event is always a better sort of like attended event than the Boreham Wood event is, if you see what I mean. It would need to be on a basis of sort of like where you could get a guarantee, an absolute guarantee that 50 people were willing to attend and they paid in the money up front, and then it would be a goer straight away. But that just doesn't happen. You need the money in place for these sorts of events to be funded, to hire the hall, hire the refreshments, hire the buses for the bus tour, such like that. And you just can't do it on, say, 30 people turning up. It's just not going to, your budget's not going to, just not going to stretch that far. Yeah, that's right, Yardy. Yeah, Hal was in, played the nurse, and she also played, she also was the Mr. Coombs's wife, the holiday camp manager's wife. Not to say it wouldn't happen again, Steve, but at the moment, as I say, especially now as well, the way that things are with the financial climate in the UK at the moment, the way things are with energy crisis and all of that. I mean, if people were struggling to come to the event or want to come to the event, to pay to come to the event before all of this, then it's going to be even less likely that they'll pay to come to the event now, if you see what I mean, Steve. So you've just got to be, so some of the times you've just got to be honest with yourself and just say, now's not the time, basically, if you get what I'm saying. Not that I wouldn't love to do one, because I would, but it's got to be the right time, and it's got to be a guarantee of people attending. I mean, I could put up a post on my Facebook group or on this channel now and say, yeah, who's up for an on the buses event? You probably get something like about 50 or 100 people saying, yeah, that'd be great, let's do it. And then when you start making your plans and all of that, that 50 to 100 people all of a sudden evaporates down to 20 people. So just keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. Yeah, sadly, it was, I think it came up on my Facebook group page the other day, there a couple of days ago, 2, 3 days ago. It was, I think it was the 9th anniversary of Hal's sad passing. I think it was 2013, Hal passed away. Lovely lady, lovely lady. I had a nice chat with her at my book launch, my 2009 book launch for, hold on, for this book here. That was my the book that I think this is the actual book that Hal actually signed as well. It's got a signature in it somewhere. I'll see if I can find it for you. Here somewhere. I know it is. Let's see. We'll have to find out where she's actually signed it. But I know she's signed that somewhere anyway. But yeah, it was lovely chatting to Hal at that event. It was just a shame that we couldn't get her to one of the events in Boreham Wood. Yeah, well, initially, when the two Ronnies, Ronnie Wolf, Ronnie Chesney, stopped writing on the buses towards the end of Series 5. So that would be um, late 71, late 1971. They went over to America to help adapt the American version, Lots of Luck, which is the American version of On the Buses. So they were over in the States, and then they did come back maybe about a year later. Well, they bounced over and back, obviously, because they worked on the spin-off films, and they ended up, as you say, working on Just My Dear. They also obviously had a hand on working on the reboot of the Rag Trade. Of course, one thing that goes unmissed as well, goes missed as well. I think they actually wrote an episode of, what was it? Was it Yes? I think it might have been Yes, Prime Minister. I think it was Yes, Prime Minister. It was certainly a sitcom of the early 1980s. Yeah, so keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. Have you anything to do on the buses at all? The cast, the crew, filming locations, the events I've organised, the walking tour, my books. Yeah, that's like Tommy Godfrey. Yeah, Yardie was in a heck of a lot of comedies in the 1970s into the early 80s. I do believe he was. He was also the caretaker in Love Mind Your Language. He also appears in, I think he appears in the Steptoe Son film. So he was in a heck of a lot of stuff around that time, Yardie. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. It would have to be, I think, most definitely the depot in Lordship Lane and Wood Green. If there was another book coming, but it would need to be, I would need to put a heck of a lot of thought into it, would be a updated version of the filming locations book. But the problem is, I know of so many filming locations now, it's sort of like a real problem fitting it all into one book. Obviously, this book here, obviously, this was the first copy that came out of it in 2016. So if you look at the width of that there, and this covers 230, I think it is, filming locations, is it? 210. 206, sorry. So that covers 206 filming locations, and look how thick it is. Now, at present, the known filming locations is now stands at over 550. So it'll be twice the size of that, and the cost of putting a lot of photos into books is what bumps up the cost of the book. So obviously, the book there, this book from 2016, which has 2000 and just over 200 film locations in it, has got about 400 photos in it. If it was to do an updated version with all the known film locations in it today, then there would be over 1,000 photographs in it. So you can see where the problem lies there. It's going to be keeping the cost down low enough to make it a doable, a viable option, if you see what I mean. Because any new book, as I say, it would have like around about probably by the time that we'd come to write it, it would probably have over 600 film locations in it, which is sort of like, it's not really, it'd be really difficult to put it into a book. But that would be the plan for another book if there was another book. Of course, who knows anyway? I mean, you might come up with an idea or an odds to write a book on another book on the buses on covering another thing other than the filming locations. But it's more enough, near enough all been covered in my earlier books anyway, like the A to Z and the complete story and the quiz book. So who knows? It could even branch out into being a book about some other sitcom or TV show that I really loved. Glad you liked it, Steve. I mean, somebody asked the other day if it was going to be if I could release it with color photos in it. It would just be too expensive to do color photos straight off. Yeah, you can get the quiz book on Amazon. Pretty certain they've got copies. Yeah, there's a link to it there. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. That's great, Steve. You might find a few things that, well, you will find things in there that might surprise you as well, so that's good. So keep your questions coming in. Anything to do with the cast, the crew, the filming locations, the episodes, films, just post them up and I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. Nah, there's no lost episodes there, Dave. The only one that you could say is lost, and it wasn't an episode. It was just the Christmas, the sketch that they done for the ITV Christmas Comedy Carnival. I think it was 1970. I think it was. Yeah, I've chatted with Linda on Facebook, sent her messages and stuff like that. Um, my favorite guest appearance in the TV series would be you for Joyce all day long. Because Pat Nye's character was so detestable, then I couldn't say that that was a favorite guest appearance. It's a bit like, as you know, it's a bit like the Patrick Moore and the Carry On England. He just wasn't cut out for it. Basically, just wasn't funny. He was like a loathsome character, if you see what I mean, just like Pat Nyes was, if you know what I mean. I know Pat Nyes was supposed to be, on fairness they are, she was supposed to be loathsome, whereas the character that Patrick Moore played and Carry On England was supposed to be like the Sid James type role, and it just didn't work at all. But on the same premise, so I just couldn't say that should be my favourite guest appearance. Would have to be Youth Joyce for me. Like a character that would want to see in more episodes. It's hard to say really off the top of my head. I'd say maybe somewhere between 40 and 50 probably. Not of the main cast, obviously. It was only Anna out of the main cast that I met, although I went to Stephen's funeral, sadly. But the main cast, it was likes of John Lyons, Kate Williams, Sandra Bryant, Carolee Donahue, Maureen Sweeney, Jeanette Wild, Patricia Clapton, Olivia Breeze, Harry Fielder, Damaris Heyman, John Lyons, did I mention? A lot more than that anyway that I know of. Just like think of the names. Helen Fraser is another one. Cheryl Hall, Avril Gaynor, Pamela Condell, the girl that was in the episode, I can't remember the name now. What the Stars Hotel, Nina West, that's it, Nina West. Nah, not Nosha Powell, nah. Nosha Powell sadly passed. I've got his book, but sadly Nosha had like passed way before I became really intensely sort of like involved with on the buses. Just like thinking of other ones I've met. I know there's more than that. Hal Dyer, of course. Yeah, I said Adam Rhodes, I think, didn't I? As you see, I know that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. Anna, of course, I don't know if I said Anna Karen, of course. I did, I said that right at the start, didn't I? Other people as well from the production side of things, like Pat Gavin, Stuart Allen, the producer, Ronnie Wolf, Ronnie Chesney, Royce Geggs, the two runners who wrote a book themselves about working on the spin-off films, Brian Reynolds and Phil Campbell. Yeah, Jules Walter, yeah. I know there's still more than that. Deirdre Costello, yeah, that's another one. Deirdre Costello and Gay Brown is another one. So you're getting the picture there of the amount there that I've gone through already. And I'm pretty certain I've missed one or two more out as well on top of that. Trying to think of the triple balance. Sheridan Earl Russell's another one, yeah. He was in these, and Wayne Westthorpe, of course, Little Arthur, and the first spin-off film. Sorry, second spin-off film, Mutiny on the Buses. Also John Whitehurst as well, who was he worked on the production side of things. Spoken to a couple on the phone as well. I haven't actually didn't actually meet them, which was Gavin Campbell and Aubrey Morris. I spoke to him over in Los Angeles. No, Andrea Lawrence is another one. Andrea Lawrence. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them for you when I see them on the screen. No, I'll just watch them on whatever size my screen is on or whichever's available. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just the humour that you watch it for, really, Gerald. It's what's funny is funny. Basically, it doesn't matter what size TV set that you actually watch it on. Oh, another one that's come to me as well was Brenda Grogan, who was in the Irish Cook in the first spin-off film as well. That's another lady I've met. Oh, you beat me to it, Yardy. That was my favourite character as well. So keep your questions coming in. Anything to do with the films, the TV series, the cast, the crew, filming locations, anything to do with the film, my books or the walking tour that I've got planned, or anything like that. Just ask the questions and I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. And anyone that's here as well, that's on Facebook, but they're not part of my channel, my Facebook group. Sorry, that's the link to it there. So if you want to join up, that's on there. That's where they run through all with filming locations. Because I own the biggest database of on the buses filming locations in the world. It's probably total somewhere between 550 and 600 now. After I've been on my trip down south again, probably January time, it'll probably maybe take the total over 600 filming locations from the TV series and films. As I say, if you go there and join up to that, I started to run through about beginning of September. We're now up to making our way through the filming locations for the first spin-off film on the buses. So keep your questions coming in. Top 3 favourite scenes, probably my favourite one. If you're talking about the TV series, I'll go for the TV series, and probably top 3 favourite scenes would probably be the breathalyzer scene, and measuring the sausages and the food and all of that, and the new uniforms would be another one. And maybe the one from Lost Property I find is really funny as well, where he's trying to get wrap the material around himself. Find that a really good scene. For the films, I'll do them separately. For the films, probably the swimming pool scene would definitely be in the top 3 from Holiday on the Buses. A funny scene as well from the first film I really like is when they get stand back and they put the hose up his leg, trouser leg. It's a really funny scene from the first film, and obviously the knicker snatcher scene as well, I would say. So keep your questions coming in, and I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. Yeah, they were all just the standard, Gerald. They only done the two, which was Christmas Duty and Boxing Day Social. So Christmas Duty was Series 4, Boxing Day Social came in Series 5. So they were your two Christmas episodes. As I say, they were the only two series that they were filming on the buses ran up to the Christmas period. Series 1 was filmed in um, sort of like late winter to early spring 69. Hi, the Fourth Doctor. The second series was like summer 69. And the Series 3 was done and sort of like just and ran from January 1970 up until about April 1970. And then Series 4 ran into Christmas time, as did Series 5 as well. So that was why. And Series 6 was um, early 72. And Series 3 was early 73. So as you see, that was the only reasons you had two Christmas episodes. I watch it if it's on the telly at the time that I'm watching it, basically, or I'll dig out the DVDs if I'm doing a location hunt and all of that as well. And no doubt I'll watch the film sometime over Christmas as well. It's a bit of a tradition as well, basically. So keep your questions coming in. Anything to do with the TV series, or the films, or anything to do with filming locations as well, or anything to do with the walking tour that I've got planned, or anything to do with my books or anything like that, just ask away. Let's see now. Cheers, Cheetah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, same to everyone here as I started off the chat with us. Merry Christmas to all of the subscribers here. Nah, the to be honest, yeah, the cream of the writers was Chesney, Ronnie Chesney, and Ronnie Wolf. Can't really judge Bob Grant and Stephen Lewis too harshly though, because for the simple reason is a lot of the episodes they wrote they were hampered by obviously Reg leaving and Michael Robbins having left as well. So they were really hampered with what they had to work with. But definitely Chesney and Wolf were the creme de la creme of the writers. Obviously they were creators as well. They were definitely the top dogs in terms of script writers as far as on the buses was concerned. Fourth Doctor, yeah, obviously Reg was in the Great St. Trinian's Lane. Plane Robbery is always a good film to watch. And obviously Bob and Stephen were in and Stephen wrote it, of course, and Sparrows Can't Sing. That's another classic, a real great cast of actors in that film. You've got it's well worth a watch. Both Bob and Michael have got a small part in the Till Death Us Do Part film. So there is a lot there. Obviously, later on in years in the 1990s, Stephen had a small part in the film The Krays, about the Kray twins. So they are just a few to sort of like are well worth a watch, I would say. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. Why not, Fox? I know what it is anyway. It's crapper, isn't it? So keep your questions coming in. Answer them for as soon as I see them on the screen. I suppose technically speaking, another one that I could say that I've met as well as George Layton, who obviously wrote some episodes. The one Peter Lewis, who was an extra in the Elboss, and Lucy Allen, Stuart Allen's daughter, who was also an extra in the Elboss. So that's another couple you can throw in there. Yeah, James, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he also played in that in the episode as well. Another episode that sort of like it's not one of my favourites anyway of the Sweeney, which is the one that he's in with Patrick Moore. I don't know what it is with Patrick Moore. I've already had to go at him already for his part that he played in Carry On England, but I didn't like his character he played in the Sweeney either. It just and both they come across as really smug characters. Makes them really unlikable. You can get it happening in Sweeney because obviously they're supposed to be unlikable because they're crooks, if you see what I mean. But in Carry On England, nah, because he's supposed to be playing like the Sid type role. The only bit of that episode that he's in, and I mean, it's weird. There's some parts of it I do like. It's quite funny, and the end shootout scene when they have them down by the docks and they box them in, and they finally get them. George Layton's character gets shot, doesn't he? In the leg, I do believe, and they finally catch the Patrick Moore character as well. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. Well, both of them are, and the one in Carry On England and the one in the Sweeney that he plays. So keep your questions coming in. I'll answer them as soon as I see them on the screen. No, there wasn't an episode like that, Gerald. No, there was no episodes like that, and on the buses, obviously, they covered other things, like as I said, the strikes and all of that, and the move to decimalisation. They covered all of that. They covered other bits and bobs as well, like that were prevalent at that time, like the cash struggles that families had. So yeah, they covered all of that, but not the 3 day week or power cuts. Apart from when Stan got his power cut off, obviously when the bill never got paid. No, I never personally done any work with Wendy Richards. No, James. Who you could get for the events, James, was all depended on availability and cost wise as well for those sorts of things. And obviously, the events haven't quite started by the time I would say when they have done it when they passed away. I'll have to go and check that. I think it was like 2015, 16. So the events had, but she was in EastEnders like up until her passing. So you're not going to get somebody who's in EastEnders filming every day. Then 2009 she passed, you see, so she passed away before the actual events, just after the event started. So the first event down in Boreham Wood was in June 2008, and she passed away about 5-6 months later. Yeah, yeah, it's 2009 when they passed. I didn't think it was that long ago either, but there you go. It just shows how your mind can play tricks with you. I think it might be a factor because Barbara Windsor was sort of like a similar type, had done comedy, then went into EastEnders. Barbara was the one that was a little bit later, obviously. Um, so that's quite probably the reason why you're confusing Barbara with Wendy. That was Luann Peters, her name was, if I remember rightly. I'm sure her name was Luann Peters. And check it up on one of my books anyway. Pretty Centre was, let's see. Yeah, Luann Peters, that was. Well, it was mainly Peter Gilmore's character that really flirted with Babs. Don't think the other one really done much in the way of flirting there, did he? From what I remember. Yeah, that was Peter Gilmore. Yeah, like I said, Cheetah. As I said earlier, I watch them sort of like when they are, if they're on the telly and I've got it on, I'll watch them then. Sometimes I'll dig out the episodes if I'm trying to obviously pinpoint clues for the filming locations, or I'll dig out the films as well. Or I'll watch the films on. I'll watch the films. Tend to watch them around Christmas time. I don't know about it being demolished. It's just being converted into flats. So it's not actually being demolished as I understand it, Gerald. It's just being, a lot of it is being converted into flats. just a case of hunting around on Google Maps and Google Street View and things like that to find the filming locations and knowing which areas to look in for them, basically. Certainly helps as well if you found one location in that episode and you've got an area to work with, then more often than not it'll be in that area again that you'll find the other locations. So it narrows areas that you've got to search for set locations, if you see what I mean. Next trip down to London, by the way, that I spoke of right at the start of the live chat. I'm hoping to visit Peckham and maybe areas around there, such as is it on? Let's see, Battersea. That's where as well. So I hope to take in locations in Battersea and Peckham the next time I'm down there and do some videos while I'm there as well. I never, not so much. I'm not of a fan. I just never really got into it. I can watch some of the classic sketches like on YouTube, like the lumberjack sketch and the dead parrot, which is all one of the same. I think one follows like directly into the other, but it's not sort of something that we turn to and watch. You know what I mean? It's other things that take precedence over it. If you see what I mean. Of course, that's just my opinion. Obviously, of course. Just how would I put it? It's just like something that doesn't particularly float my boat. Though I can watch the some of the scenes I find are funny, but it's not something that I was sort of like I could watch all the time. If you see what I mean. don't know, some of the busmen in it had long hair though. Remember the one when he asked, hold on just now, just got to take something out in the back here. No, that's what I wanted there, more like that, you see. It doesn't really show up, it's back to front on your screen. Yeah, you remember the episode when he's doing the dance and all that, the shake and all that? One of the younger busmen's trying to chat up Stan's bud, and he tells him to go away and get a haircut, get your mother to cut your hair, he says, doesn't he? So one or two of them had long hair. Which is probably exactly what it was like on the bus depot as well, around about that time. Of you do what you want on your Boxing Day social, James. I'll leave it up to you what you want to do. Get up to in your time. It's your business. You can have how many clippies and trifles you want and punch ups. I'll just be having a quiet one, I should imagine, relaxing. Of course, the punch ups and all of that was that you got were at the Busman's Ball, weren't they? Not at the Boxing Day social, as I remember it. Or the Busman's Brawl, as the author says it should be called. So keep your questions coming in. Any more questions? Just post them up on the screen there. Can be anything to do with the films, the TV series, the cast, the crew, filming locations, or anything to do with my books or the walking tour that I've got planned. Say planned, I've still got to sort of like plan out the old finer details and stuff like the date and everything like that. Does look like it will be in Boreham Wood now though. I've run two separate polls on it. One on my Facebook page, group page, and that was overwhelmingly in favour of Boreham Wood. And the channel here, the poll that's on the community section, that is overwhelmingly in favour of Boreham Wood as well. So it does look like the walking tour that will be in Boreham Wood. The date's not been set yet, James. As I say, that's something I've got to set, but I will post it up here when I've actually set a date. So I will post it on the YouTube channel anyway. If you just look at the on the main page, if you just look at the community bit for the posts that go up, I will post it up then when I set a date and what the cost of it and all of that will be. The revenue, if you mean for the stuff like the films and all of that, then they probably would have been something like around about £2 million, I would say. Because I think the film weighed in, the first film was the biggest earner at the box office, of about just over 1 million made at the box office. Mutiny on the Buses wasn't so successful, neither was Holiday on the Buses, but I would say they still turned in a profit. So I would say the kind of revenue that they made at the box office were doing about £2 million. Yeah, they're not exactly connected up there. I see what you're saying, though. It's just like the same. It's the same baby doll nightie that she wears in the TV series that she wears in the film. And of course, it was at the end when the series all finished. Series 7 ended. They asked her what she wanted to keep. Like they asked all of the cast if there was any item from the wardrobe that they would like to keep, and Anna chose the baby doll nightie, and as far as I know, she still had it up in her loft up until her sad passing. Yeah, cheers for popping in, James, and asking some questions. I think I'll be winding up soon as well here, unless we get the flow of questions coming in as well. You know what to do, just post up your questions on the screen. I'll answer them as soon as I see them. Yeah, it probably was. It probably might have been just a yeah, how can I put it? Camera trick like it probably wasn't a proper cigarette, although it was smoking when he had it in his mouth. So it might have just been when it wasn't hot that they had a way of it giving off smoke, so it looked like it was a lit cigarette. I'd say that would probably be the more likely case of what it was, if you know what I mean. Um, Probably just that they had a way of getting smoke to come out of the cigarette, so having the illusion it was a lit cigarette. I mean, the props department can do all sorts of wonderful things and make you believe that it's something that it isn't that you're looking at. If you see what I mean. Okay, any more questions? Anything to do with the films, cast crew, TV series, or anything to do with the filming locations? Just post them up and I'll answer them for you as soon as I see them on the screen. Yeah, glad you liked it, Steve. So any questions, just post them up and ask away. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Yardy, and to everyone else. Okay, I seem to be losing all my question askers, so I'll give it another 5 minutes. If anyone wants to ask any questions, just ask away. If not, I'll call it a night and wish you all a Merry Christmas. Nah, no cat here, I'm afraid. I try my best with it. Cheetah. I didn't put one up for about maybe well, let's see. Be maybe about about 18 years. 18, 19 years or something. I didn't put up a tree at all. That's because my mum passed away right close to Christmas. My mum used to love putting up Christmas trees and all of that. It was just put me right off putting up Christmas trees. So it was only when I moved into this new flat that finally got the urge to put up a tree again after all that time. So I think that's why I went out and decided to make a real big, because this tree, I've had the tree now, it's not an actual real tree or anything like that. It's just it's an artificial tree, but it was a really good one. I got it from Marks and Spencer's or something like that, I think it was. So any more questions, anyone? We've been online now for what, nearly coming up towards 2.25 hours now. Give you a chance to get your questions in. I'll call it a night at 2.25 hours. So another 6 minutes. Have you got any questions you want to ask? As I say, I will be posting up more videos in the new year. Probably the first batch will come up sometime in January. That'll be videos. At the moment, I'm planning to do a trip down to London again to do locations in Peckham and Battersea. They're both Series 7 locations, or sorry, all Series 7 locations. And then there will be more videos going up throughout the year periodically. Yeah, cheers, Steve, and to you too. Hope you have a great Christmas. Keep an eye on the forum and all of that. If there's any news coming about any potential events and all of that, I will be posting them up on my forum or over here on the YouTube channel. Okay, I'm going to call it a night now. Okay, so I'll say a Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you all have a great Christmas. Also, you get all that you want from Christmas as well in terms of gift wise, and I hope you have a happy and prosperous New Year. Sorry, and I'll see you all again soon. Okay, so have a great Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas.